On this edition of the BRSN Insider, we sit down with women's basketball head coach Chad Folsom as his ladies are off to an 8-2 start to the regular season as they welcome nationally ranked Clark University to campus this week. We also sit down with associate head coach John Peer as the Ravens have started playing strong in the conference season as they now sit at 6-5 overall and 5-1 in heart play. And we introduce you to the newest member of the Raven Athletic coaching staff as I sit down with new director of cross country and track and field, Jaquil Smith, here on the latest edition of the BRSN Insider.
Welcome to the final edition of 2019 of the BRSN Insider. Josh Pound, now joined by the head basketball coach for the Lady Ravens, Chad Folsom. And Coach, squad's off to a hot start this season. Just talk about how the start to the season has gone for you guys so far.
You know, we're playing well. We're 9-2 in overall and 4-2 in the conference. We've lost a couple of close games on the road to good teams at William Penn and at Grandview. The last one was a 1-point loss at Grandview. Had a chance to win in the last 13 seconds. But overall, I think we've been playing well. It's we've kind of put in a new system of how to play this season, and I think the ladies are really adopting it. And it's nice to have a lot of depth like we have, so we're able to use our depth to our advantage and kind of turn up the heat on defense and really look to pressure and play fast this season.
Last time out, you're able to get a big win here at home. Strong shooting from the perimeter, and it kind of had that theme the last 2 or 3 games. Is it just a matter of they're getting more comfortable with each other, or is it just just takes a little bit sometimes to get going and get into the flow?
Yeah, we've been shooting it better. I think our ladies maybe are making better passes, leading to better shots. I think sometimes we're open, but our passes aren't on the money, and doesn't give us the time to get the shot off. I think they've been improving that area, but I think the defense is still the key for us, and if we're playing aggressive defense and creating havoc and able to play fast, I think that's what suits us the best.
We've got the last conference game of 2019 coming up here at the end of the week against Clark, another top 25 program. It just says a lot about you guys are about middle of the pack conference standings, and every single team to you is probably potentially could make an argument they deserve to be in the national tournament this year. Just talk about a little bit about Clark and then just how stacked it seems so far that the conference is.
That's true. Yep. Clark is they're ranked I think 21 in the country right now. Led by their center, McKenna Hazy, who's averaging a double-double. I think they've got everyone back from a team that went to the Elite Eight last year. So they're really a confident squad. They play well together. They've got shooters on the outside. They've got a strong presence in the middle. So they're definitely a good squad. And I think overall, they're the same record as us right now, 9-2 overall. Maybe they're 5-2 in conference, and we're 4-2. As far as the conference goes, yeah, it's stacked. I think the top 7 teams right now currently only have 2 losses in the conference, and the top teams only have 1 loss. So everybody's within a game of each other right now, and it's going to be a battle this season. Who can protect home court and who can get a few wins on the road is going to be the key. But it seems like every night, that top 7 teams are playing really well, and I think overall as well, record-wise, they all have quite a few wins, and I think that from top to bottom and that top part of the conference, this is as strong as I think our league's ever been.
Well, as we film this, it's dead day here on campus, so it's it's an interesting time of year because obviously you're trying to prepare to win a game on Saturday against Clark, but at the same time, finals start tomorrow. Just talk about what the balance is like this time of year and trying to make sure that you get your team enough time on the court to prepare for an opponent, but at the same time, enough time away to prepare for their finals.
Yeah, I think most of our teams in our league are in finals right now, and we have had a whole week here between games, so it's given us a little bit of time here early in the week to get some things fixed and worked on this the first 3 days of the week, and it'd be nice to give them a little bit of a break on Thursday so they can study for their exams, and then we got to get ready Friday for our game on Saturday. So. And then we've got finals, after that on Monday and Tuesday, so we'll be off, the rest of the weekend. And then we got a big game next week where we travel to Branson, Missouri, play College of the Ozarks. So We're playing some really tough teams right now, but like you said, we have to make sure that we balance, and we want them to do well in the classroom. That's number one. So, I think we're giving them enough time and focusing on, keep reminding them to get in there and study and keep focused and finish strong. I always say finish we want to finish our season strong, but you got to finish your semester strong. You've worked really hard to get to this point. Let's finish these last week off and do well on our finals.
When you mentioned, so you've got the game coming up after the semester concludes, you go down to College of the Ozarks. Then what's the schedule look like? How much time do you give the ladies off? Christmas kind of a little bit of a different, it's in the middle of the week this year, so it's kind of like, how do you balance giving them time to get away, but then, conference starts right back up pretty quick after the Christmas holiday.
That's true, yeah. So we will we play on the 20th at the Ozarks, and then we will come back, and most of them will drive home on the 21st. And they'll be coming back on the 29th. So we're actually a little bit later than usual. Usually they're coming back the 27th, 28th. So we get a day or two more, just because our conference schedule doesn't start up until January 4th. So it gives us, about a week when we get back to get ready for that first conference game. So I think it'll be a good break for them, and it's always good for them to, get home and spend time with family as well as the coaches. We enjoy that time away, and then we'll be able to come back together. And what's nice about those 2 weeks before school starts, when we're back on campus practicing, is it's a great time for the team to really gel and spend a lot of time together. So talking to our players, most of them are all looking forward to that opportunity to just not worry about school there for a couple weeks and just get to know each other, hang out with each other, and focus on basketball.
Well, that's something you hear a lot of Division I coaches talk about pretty frequently, is when classes are over with, how much more time that gives you with the student athletes. That's kind of a key part of the season, to be able to reset basically when they get back from Christmas break. Just talk about that. I mean, aside from bonding, it does kind of refocus, give you an opportunity to have a second preseason, so to speak.
True, and if first we got to get them back to remembering what we did in the first semester, at the beginning there, and then if we want to add anything or change anything or adjust anything, it gives us some time to do that. And usually, we say we do 2-a-days, but we've got opportunities to, get in the gym and spend more time shooting, and skeleton plays, and then, have a second practice where we're going live a little bit more. So, they get a little bit tired, but at the same time, you've got to kind of get them back in shape as well as keep them fresh so they're ready to play games, a week after they get back.
Well, thanks to Coach Folsom for visiting with us today. His team back in action right here in the Nolan Gymnasium, noon on Saturday against nationally ranked Clark University. Welcome back inside to the BRSN Insider. Josh Pound now joined by a fresh face here on campus, Jaquel Smith, the new director of cross country and track and field. Coach, first of all, congratulations on the new position. Welcome to Benedictine. Familiar with Benedictine, coming from Avila University, former Hart program. Just talk a little bit about what it was that attracted you to Benedictine.
Well, of course, I was good friends with Coach Bryan and everything, and he moved on, and he's like, "Hey, man, it's an opportunity to come over here and be a part of something great." And I was like, "Well, I've heard about the school and everything. We came to a meet last year, cross country, but it wasn't on campus. So
right.
I came to the campus for my interview, and I was like, this is a beautiful campus, and it kind of has like an old school feeling on the outside, and then once you go inside, everything is very updated. So it was kind of, it felt like home back in Mississippi, where I'm from, because we got that kind of countryside to it, but got the old school, new school flavor. So I fell in love with it immediately. But just knowing that, the family commitment that they have here, and even talking to the president, everything's forward. I'm all about moving forward every time, so that's what really attracted me to you.
Well, while you officially won't start until the first of the year, you've been around the program a little bit. They've already had their only indoor meet of the season, or from the first half of the semester. You'll get into the thick of things in the second semester. Just looking at what you're inheriting and what you're going to go forward with, what are your thoughts so far on what you've seen?
Well, the biggest thing is that I have a program that has a lot of depth. Especially on the distance side. None of them pretty much ran this weekend. It's kind of a coach's decision. But looking at what they did this weekend, Jeremiah Connolly got off to a good start, pretty much qualified, just kind of got to maintain him in that top 16 rank. And then we had Austin Marno, I guess I pronounced his name right. But he's first time multi-kid, did pretty good for himself. And Joe Butler in the 60 and the 200 had some pretty good runs. Our 4x4 looked pretty good. And pole vaulting is probably one of our strongest events this year. We got some young freshman guys that are going to be great for us across the board. So I'm looking forward to that on the men's side, and just getting them better. Excited about getting the distance runner back out there in January. On the women's side, I think the jumpers look pretty good this weekend. Got a lot more work to do on the sprint side and everything. Got to get some people healthy. But Sarah Lucas, who's pretty much been our top jumper in long jump, is back. She started off pretty good with 11.13 meters in the long jump. And Teresa Amble is going to be probably one of the people to watch all season long. She pretty much won the meet in the 600, and it was so close to qualifying. We was all excited. They was all excited about it from what I heard, and we found out later that, of course, when it converted, that it didn't happen. But she's pretty. Been talking to her later. She's pretty excited about the opportunities to go to nationals in the 600 and even the 4x4. So once we kind of get everybody healthy and going, when they come back from break, hopefully the break's not doesn't break us. And hopefully we can get into a good rhythm and get it going so we can go after this Heart of America Championship.
Well, obviously the bigger picture is that you're responsible for the entire cross country track and field program, but every coach has their specialty. What would you say your specialty is?
Definitely the mid distance side, 600, 800 up to the mile. I can coach the 400s. Coaching everything at Avila, I had to kind of pick up shot put and all that. I fell in love with jumps though. So that's like a thing I have in my back pocket. But I have a great staff. Coach Jasmine Smith is pretty good in the throws, and they've been making a name for themselves the past couple of years. Coach Daphne, EJ Daphne, has been doing well with the jumps and sprints and hurdles. And then we have a couple student assistants that's kind of helping us out across the board and just kind of keeping everybody motivated as well because they've been a part of the team. So that team chemistry with them, having that already coming in, is kind of like walking in the park and just walking into a great thing.
Well, Vin, you mentioned that. So finally, different kind of circumstances. Usually a coach is hired. They take things on in the fall. They progress through the year. This is happening mid-semester. Yeah. What has been the input, the feedback that you've gotten from the team as you've had the chance to kind of get to know what your team is going to look like going into the next semester?
Man, we just met today. But now we've met several times before in the interview process. I kind of talked with them a little bit, expectations of me and what I expect of them. But it's been a good thing so far. I think they love me. So I think we'll be looking forward to some great things to come. I'm all about trying to win championships, but also put those kids in a good position where they can be better in life. So I think they're kind of buying in right now. I just think I'm anxious to get started. So I think I've been over here several times. It's only an hour drive from Kansas City, so just very excited about getting on the campus and actually being with my team permanently. But I think they're gonna we're gonna gel real quick.
Well, good luck to you, Coach. Welcome to campus. We'll talk to you down the road. It's been Jaquel Smith, new cross country and track and field head coach. Welcome back to the latest edition of the BRSN Insider. Josh Pound now joined by associate head coach for the men's basketball team, John Peer. And thanks for coming down. Coach Moody had some other things he was doing today, so we're happy to have you with us today. Take a look back at the start of the semester, obviously, or the start of the season. Probably not where you guys thought you'd be after the first 5 or 6 games, but you guys have kind of righted the ship. You're sitting there right in second place now in the conference. Just talk about how things have progressed from where they were to where they are now.
At the beginning of the season, it was probably a mix of things. Some of it being a lot, maybe not new faces, but guys that haven't played a lot of court time or maybe some inexperience in there, trying to find those roles. Also a mix of some injuries and some other things where we probably didn't have, our top 8 or 9 guys together for 2 games in a row until we got into the conference season, which makes it a little bit more difficult to define roles. If you go back and look at those first 5 or 6 games, our starting lineup was quite a bit different, and people coming off the bench were kind of playing different minutes. So I think it's a mix of getting those guys healthy, getting those guys a little bit more comfortable in what we do. Guys that haven't played and guys that are new to the system, on how we play, how hard the competition is, and I think that's the other piece. We do our scheduling for a reason. We schedule a lot of hard non-conference guys. If you look at what their record was at one time, those first 5 guys or 6 teams that we played had 1 loss, and that was us beating Hastings the very first game of the year. Now that's balanced out a little bit, but we like to challenge ourselves early. I think it prepares you for a really hard conference schedule, and that's been a recipe for success for us in the past, and hopefully the same this year.
Overall, 7-5, you're giving up, I think, just over 70 points per game, but in the conference games, that number's dropped down to 67 point something or other. What do you see? Is it just a matter of, like you said, they're getting used to each other, they know what to do, and then obviously over the years with Coach Moody and yourself and as well, the defense has fed the offense, and that seems to be really what's happening right now.
Yeah, probably the same thing, a mix. When we were struggling to score for early in the year, we kind of have to hang our hat on defense. That's kind of going to keep you into games when you struggle. That's kind of been our MO here for the time Coach Mooney and I have been together. You hang your hat on defense, you kind of figure the offense out a little bit. We picked our scoring up, but I think our defense has really taken a step forward. Same thing, some guys that haven't been on a lot of court time and new guys learning our defensive system. I think you've seen a big step up there, especially since conference. The other part is everybody knows everybody in conference. The film's out by that time. You've got a little bit more to scout off of. There's not a lot of turnover in coaches in that conference from year to year. There's a few here and there, but everybody has a pretty good idea what everybody else does, so it just gets a little bit tougher to score when you're playing opponents that you have a pretty good idea of what they're going to do.
We've got Clark University coming in on Saturday. Head coach is somebody that's only been there a few years, but his assistant coach is somebody we're very familiar with, and Charlie Walrap, alum. But just talk about what you guys expect out of Clark coming in here this year.
They can really score the basketball. They maybe struggled a little bit out of the gate in conference, but they've been really playing well, especially the last 3 games, and offensively the last 3 games. They're top 5 guys. Are very aggressive and all have the ability to put the ball in the hole. It's going to be a big challenge for our defense. For them coming here, especially how they're playing. They've really got out and jumped their last 2 opponents pretty quickly and kind of had them beat down by halftime and maybe not game over, but had a pretty significant lead. So we're going to have to be ready for a very fast-paced, multiple guys that can score, they can shoot, they can drive. They got a post player that can score down there. They're a very well-rounded offensive team.
Is that a lot of mirror of the same kind of philosophies, you think, or do they do one thing maybe a little bit differently than what you guys do?
I say they play a little bit faster. We are kind of known to grind it out a little bit, and we'll play when the times they're coming down, looking to get the ball up pretty quickly. Defensively, they run around, they try to pressure you a little bit. Charlie does a pretty good job. I think he handles the defense up there, and you see a lot of the similar things defensively. They probably get out and pressure you a little bit more, and maybe take some more gambles in the passing lanes, but. Offensively, they try to score quick, and they're very aggressive on the offensive end from multiple positions.
Well, and as we sit here and we record this, it's our dead day. So obviously, you guys have been preparing for Clark at the end of the week, but at the same time, trying to give the guys as much time to get away from the floor and get their studies in order. Just talk about how that balance works for you guys in the program.
It's a challenge, but I think it's a good balance having this week where we can give them a day or two to think about studies. We gave our guys Monday off. That was the plan, to kind of get to the studies, and we came out here and there's 10 guys playing 5-on-5 pickup for over an hour, which is good for them to get out there on their own and have a little bit of fun playing basketball in the middle of the season. That shows you that they're not burnt out. They're excited to play, which is good. But we want them to focus on their studies. We'll lift a few days. We're giving them today off, and we'll get back after it tomorrow and Friday. But we use it as there's a lot going on in their lives, studying off the floor, whatever. They need to focus on that when they're not here. When we ask for their time for the 3 hours that we get in the next couple of days, that's their kind of break from their studies and back to getting focused on what we're doing and try to end the semester on a good note with some success we've had here in the past. So it's probably easier for the coaches right now than them, because we get to focus on one thing and they got to kind of split it. But I think we've got a pretty mature group that they're up getting a lift right now. They seem pretty dialed in. I think when we get here, that's their break to get away from the books a little bit and focus on hopefully having fun, but especially for what we got a task ahead of us on Saturday.
Well, so you close up the first half or first part of conference play on Saturday, then you have a non-conference there back here at home against Haskell, and then the guys are off for break. Just talk about what Christmas break looks like for you guys.
We'll cut them loose after the game on Wednesday. This year we don't play again until the next conference game, which I believe is like January 4th or something in there. I'm not for sure. So we get a little bit of an extended break this year, which is good. We get about 9 days for the kids to go home, and we'll come back and have about 7 days to prepare for the next conference game. But it's good and bad when you're playing well. Sometimes you don't want to have that big break, and hopefully they don't forget everything that they've learned here in the last month and how that feels. But it's good with the grind of basketball being so long. We start the first week you're on campus pretty much with doing something or other. It's nice for them to get home, get a little mental break, see the family, enjoy the time with them, and then come back and hopefully they've refreshed and not forgotten everything, but have a little bit more legs and a little more pop and excited to head into what's a what's a grind in January and February with the Heart of America Conference.
Well, and we haven't really talked about the conference right now. It's William Penn up above. You guys are in second place. And then from an overall record standpoint, there's a giant jumble of teams. I can't remember the last time that there's been like that little separation throughout the conference.
I think after the
standings.
first 2 games, everybody had a win and everybody had a loss in conference, which is kind of rare. I think conferences, there's not a lot of separation maybe from the top to the bottom. I think that's a good thing. I think William Penn, is a very talented team. They're going to be a handful when we get to them. Everybody else kind of seems to be a little bit jumbled up. Last year's conference was very senior laden. If you look back at the all conference teams, I think we had 2 guys that were junior, a freshman and a sophomore on there. About everybody else was a senior. So a lot of schools lost a lot of experience off those teams. So they're kind of like us, trying to find their way a little bit. If you look at their records, a lot of teams around 500 that are in there overall. Some separation a little bit in conference with the record, but there's a lot of good coaches and a lot of good players in this league, and they're going to figure it out as they move forward. But I think a lot of teams lost a lot of senior leadership and a lot of experience off last year's group, including us. 2 All-Americans, then having Eric out. Hopefully we get him back here soon, but that's 3 guys with a lot of court experience. So we went through those trials a little bit. I think everybody else is too, and it'll be an exciting run in January and February with everybody. There's not going to be an easy game, and there's not going to be a game. We're going to have the ability to win and lose to about anybody in conference, I think.
Well, thanks to Coach Peer for stepping in today to visit with us. As Ravens will be back in action at 2 o'clock on Saturday as they host Clark University.